Just gonna wait till a few people get on here. Just wanting to see how everybody's doing tonight. It's been quite the week, quite the month. A lot going on in the world, of course, as always. Okay, what can I tell you? Let's see. Hi, Madeline. Just getting a few people scheduled in and try to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. But just wanted to get a few people here and joining us. And I thought I was going to get it across my other pages trying out a new software, but it doesn't appear to be working unless I need to refresh this. I'm not sure. No, doesn't seem to be working. Lovely. So I guess you're just going to be here with me on Stephanie Lodge, and we'll repost it at a later time. Okay, so what is happening? Well, we have a lot of things going on in the world, as I mentioned, a lot of people who are, getting really into, I don't want to say fear, fear is an overstatement maybe for some, but I would just say definitely frustration with the world events. I think everything going on obviously in Europe right now with the Paris Accord and London, and we had a beautiful concert today with Ariana Grande and friends, One Love Manchester, that happened. For those of you who didn't see it, you might want to check it out on YouTube. It was really, really a beautiful event to show unification and to obviously honor and memorialize what happened there. So that was beautiful to see. When people come together, obviously, it's always a nice thing to experience that emotion, that real emotion coming from celebrities too. You don't obviously a lot of time they put on their personas and they don't let their guard down. So to really see that heart come through these young people, even Justin Bieber I think was crying, which is awesome. Just to see that heart activation coming in and bringing so many people together for that cause. And of course we've had other times in our past, that we've done these types of things, but I think we're all kind of up to here with a lot of the world events and decisions that are being made, especially in this country of the United States. And our leadership, leaves something to be desired, to say the least. But instead of focusing on that, what I'm doing here with Sovereign Union is really bringing us back to center. I kind of say that there's fractals of light that we are. For a diamond, if we have a diamond heart, we give off radiation of light, from us. That is our personality, our living light lens, if you will, based on our own wounds, what triggers us, what we've been through personally on many levels. And so that is going to influence how we react and how we get triggered by things. So what I'm here to offer, and I'll be bringing guests on periodically. I'm going to be doing that, so this should get kind of exciting in the weeks to come. I had this called Angelic State of the Union, for those of you who've tuned in before, and a friend of mine's like, yeah, you just keep thinking of Republican angels, and it made me laugh, and I thought, okay, maybe we'll change the name. And really, because for me it was really about our personal state of the union within, that the element that is the electric, that energy that goes, that activated energy, which often many times is referred to as the masculine side of us. And then there is that other side, the feminine, magnetic, receptive energy. And so for me it was really about how do we bring those two together within ourselves. And so I think Sovereign Union is what came through when I asked my counsels and my guidance and my higher selves. It's like, okay, so what is this called? And it's really our sovereignty, it's our freedom, it's finding our way back to freedom by unification and by pulling in and going within, which many people are doing at an extreme level right now. I've noticed within my circle of friends, a lot of people have kind of become like hermits and very sensitive to outsiders, outside influence, outside energy. They don't go out of the house too much, and when they do, it's specifically for specific reasons, but a lot of them are just kind of going within more and spending time with very small knit close groups. So if you're finding yourself in that, definitely put a little thumbs up if you're relating, but if you're finding yourself in that condition or that situation, what I'm inviting here as understanding what our sovereignty is, it's to get outside or beyond the condition or the measurement even of time and space and belief, and going outside of that to influence it from outside of it. So it's when we go into that observer mind, or what I call the angel angle for fun. Some people call it, they call it different things, but what I would say is when we get outside the ego and we observe what we're going through, and we kind of just look at everything not from the person in it, in the story, in the condition, in the situation, but objectively looking at it, that's when we can kind of get outside and beyond those belief systems like the subconscious that tend to rule the show a little bit. So we're going to be looking at that. I wanted to also remind, and I'm going to remind this throughout a little bit because people tune in and out of these live streams, so bear with me if you stay for the whole episode, so to speak. I keep using air quotes tonight, I'm not sure why. But I do have my Sovereign Light Alchemy series starting tomorrow night, Monday night, and it's going to be roughly a 2-hour event each Monday, and it's kind of an opportunity to restart the week. I'm going to be teaching light keys that essentially work in your operating system. I'm going to teach you how to work them into the operating system, what I call your photonic field, your light field, the photonic energetic level of who you are that influences all levels of who you are, including your physical body. So we're going to be definitely doing a week on health this month. Also abundance for those of you who are looking to align and harmonically align more to that. But we're starting with strength, security, and protection tomorrow night. And the reason for that is because there is a lot of chaos going on. And if your field is feeling static and distorted in general, and you're just not feeling safe and secure, then you kind of can't align to the other light keys that bring in the other aspects, right? So we're going to start with safety, protection, security, just feeling like you understand how your field works. What I call the field shield, we'll be working with that. So I'm going to be teaching a lot of kind of my understanding of how we work with our energetics, and then we'll go into a meditation, and that'll be guided off the cuff. As I said, I work a lot off the cuff, and that will be guided from light streaming. So for those of you who are not familiar with what I do, some people call it channeling, but most people, when they think of channeling, they think of trance channeling, where somebody goes out of their body and something else comes through them. What I do is what I call light streaming, which is an automatic process where I am in stream or integrated with a broadcast signal of a higher consciousness, and I call that higher consciousness the sovereign light. I've called it the angelic light stream. There's a lot of interchangeable levels of understanding about it. But fundamentally what I understand is it's source frequency. It's just consciousness that is all consciousness. And so it's designed to bring in a meditation that's going to serve whoever's in the group in that moment, but it's going to be with the intention of bringing in the energy of safety and protection and feeling secure in whatever areas. Because if we're in a place of insecurity, for those of you who might be suffering from low back pain lately or back pain in general, that tends to be feeling insecure. There's an insecurity running in the system. So we're going to be talking about these things in the next 4 weeks. So Sovereign Light Alchemy you can find on stephanielodge.com, on my page, Stephanie Lodge, or here on my feed on Facebook. There's links. You'll see a big thing that says Sovereign Light Alchemy. It's really affordable. It's really easy to sign up. And I really highly recommend it for Monday nights because it's a way to start your week off and kind of complete your weekend. So whatever went on over the weekend, sometimes we go a little bit overboard. It kind of detoxes the system when we work with light. So we always incorporate what I call light streaming, bringing light into the body and recharging, clearing, releasing. There's a whole reveal, release, and resource process I teach. So there's going to be a lot of really good, useful information. So I'm really, really letting everybody know about it because I know Facebook's a hard one to track. There's so much going on Facebook. So you might have missed it. So not too late to sign up. It will be recorded, so if you can't make a Monday night because you have another class, something going on, that's okay. You'll still get the recording, and you can use it at any time. So, and you can use it over and over, which is a good resource. So again, we're gonna cover tomorrow night, safety, security, protection, and then I believe the next following week will be abundance. So a lot of the light keys that have to do with magnetically drawing in that which you deserve, right? So yeah, I have this microphone and I forgot to put it on for some reason. So and then next week is abundance. The third week will be health, harmonious health, I call it, and then the final week for June will be refined relationship. So for those of you who are having difficulty relating to others, of course romantically and otherwise, we'll be covering some stuff there, so that'll be fun. Okay, so that's out of the way. I want to draw, first and foremost, we're going to get to some fun stuff, because this is the fun stuff, is when I get to play with my tools. I wanted to draw a card for, this is the Ingrid Auer deck, a girlfriend of mine out of Europe who developed these cards. She channeled them through. I already dropped the card for us. It is Angel for Patience and Timelessness. Okay, so I'm going to bring that up close. That is a sigil or a symbol. And these are essentially what light keys are in a different form. And it says, I accept everything with patience. So thanks for being patient, for letting me go get my microphone, but that's just it one more time. So that's going to be propped up here in front of my camera so I can look at that. So I know I can slow down and not talk a mile a minute, right, Barb? My lovely Barbara Wilder, love her. She's my Auntie Barb. Okay, so we are going to do a show and tell real quick. A friend of mine, Kirk, sent me this. Kirk Landauer out of Sedona. It is Sedona Earth that has been struck by lightning. So it's captured lightning that is basically when the lightning strikes, it pulverizes into the sand, into the earth, and creates an instant rock formation. And it feels light, almost like coral. And it's called a fulgurite. So you can look it up online and what it's all about, but it's really good for manifestation. So I have it tonight. So we're using that in our energy field tonight, just for aligning to Mother Earth, aligning to the planet, because of course we want to honor her and what she gives to us all the time, so that we can be here, so that we can be breathing her atmosphere and being alive, and grateful for that. And I'm going to also pull some cards again for sovereign unity. So the sovereign union, what we're looking at. So we're going to look at cards in different categories, and it's going to be giving me a little bit of a clue and guidance as to what wants to come in, as to where we are energetically at the electric dynamic, as Barbara knows, at level, and then also at the magnetic feminine level. So the electric is, again, the masculine. We got all sorts of cards falling out, but I got to clear them out first and foremost. And if you guys have any questions, if there's anything on your heart and mind tonight, things that you're struggling with, things that you need guidance on before we get to the meditation portion, just feel free to chime in and type them in, and I'll do my best to see them. I'll lean in probably and get those questions answered as best I can tonight. And we're going to do a brief meditation again, just to kind of give everybody some peace in their heart before they go to bed, if they're watching locally, and if they're around the world, they'll just kind of have an opportunity to chill. So that's kind of cool always, right? Okay, so here we go. So we're looking first at where we are in terms of taking action in the world, which I call our masculine aspect. We all have masculine and feminine within us, and when we engage in that in different ways, and the idea is to bring it into kind of balance, right? Bring it into neutrality, 0 point. There's a lot of terminology for it, but to just bring it into a very balanced state. So the masculine right now, what's being focused on is liberation. Okay, so the card coming up for the divine masculine, or the masculine aspect, is liberation. Hey Tammy, hey Erica, welcome. Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. I'm looking at this and I'm just going to tune in here for a second. Okay, what I'm getting out of this actually has to do with alchemy. We're looking at the all-seeing eye, the Holy Trinity aspects, symbols. There's all sorts of symbology in this. You can see the triangle of the masculine energy, if you will, that triangle pointing up. And Isis kind of embracing it all. So there's still a feminine kind of in the womb or in the chalice cup formation supporting, right? Kind of see that in an angelic form. You know, that was really, I mean, it's an angel, but I see her as Isis because of her headdress and so forth. And it's kind of hard to see probably over the video. What is being liberated, and what they're telling me what's being liberated, is a lot of the aspects of the shadow. The shadow aspects are being released and liberated from the body. So things are going to come up to challenge the masculine side. Those areas of your life where you want to take steps forward and you feel kind of like you take 2 steps forward, 5 steps back sometimes. And it can be kind of like, what's going on? You know, you feel maybe that there's a resistance to that. There's also an aspect they're telling me that, and when I say they, just understand it's my higher counsels, like when I tune in. There's an aspect of it that is really about feeling liberated from the chains that bind us overall. You know, that part of us that really wants to break free of all of those constructs in our world, society, programming, and everything else that keeps us enslaved. We are going through a major liberation. A lot of people call this an evolution or a revolution of sorts. And so the masculine within us is having this energy of really desiring to be liberated, and there's a liberation happening to that, and letting it go and letting it get free, and releasing the shadow aspects too that bind us, the limiting beliefs. So when I spoke earlier about getting outside of the constructs of conditions like time, space, belief, you know, and getting to that observer mind that's outside of all that, that I call the sovereign light, that is where we can manifest something totally new. When we are constantly focused on the conditions around us, what we're looking at always that's already here and still here and has been here, and we say, well, that's just what it is what it is, you know, and we see it every day and we don't expect it to change. It's because we're not going outside of that condition that we find ourselves in. So we really need to think about, potentially, I invite you guys to think about going into the imagination stage when you visualize and meditate, going into that place of visualizing what you want your world to be. Not what it currently is, but what do you want it to look like? What would be the end result? If you had your own personal utopia, visualize that. Do it as much as you can and focus on that, no matter what is going on in the world, because that is how you are bringing peace within yourself and bringing peace to the planet as a collective. A lot of people understand this from the quantum physics aspect, the scientific aspect of our thoughts create our reality. This is something that is now coming into play more and more and being proven more and more. I would say let's just go with the assumption that that's most likely true. So if history keeps repeating itself because we keep looking at the conditions and know that they're going to just keep repeating, and we just assume that they will and we can't change them, then they will, right? So my invitation is, let's liberate ourselves from the current mindset and go into a future mind, a future heart, an emotional energy that is really aligned to something much higher, much more elevated, and much more liberating to our soul, to our freedom of being everything that we are here to be, and what our true potential is. I think we limit ourselves. We have a lot of, you know, things that have happened maybe in our lives that have given us ideas that we're not enough, or we can't do it, we can't get it done, and we just have a lot of insecurity perhaps, or things like that, you know, and we all go through it no matter what we do in life. Those moments show up. So what I would say is maybe just consider going to a different angle of it, you know, looking at it from a different angle where you already are experiencing a world that is free of war, free of dictators, free of anything that doesn't serve us, you know, to be in alignment with love and joy and abundance and freedom on all levels. So that's just my stream on that one, okay? So now we're going to look at the divine feminine aspect, which is the receptive aspect, which is the magnetic field of who we are. When we are liberating our limited beliefs and those shadow aspects of those things we don't really want to look at, They might come up right now for you, so just be prepared. But when we get liberated from them, we can then become more magnetic, because those are all repellent fields. It's like you're just creating all these little repellent aspects. So if it's a magnet that's pulling in and it's flipped and it's repellent, when you release that and you clear that out, then you create more room for magnetism. So the magnetic is the feminine coming in, is the door to the infinite, right? A door to the infinite, excuse me. So I'll let you guys take a look at that. Hey, Yolanda. Thanks for joining. We're just checking into the divine masculine and feminine aspects within this sovereign union of us. Door to the infinite. I see this woman, and she has like a cloud of energy just swirling around her body up into the sky, and it just goes into what we would kind of see as the great central sun, or the source of all there is. And she's in nature. And really what I'm getting for the feminine in us, longing to be in nature, longing to be connected to the elements around us, you know, the air, the sunshine, the trees. When you go into that stillness, when you go out into nature and just be, you are probably the closest to your true divine nature that you can be in that moment. You know, being on your cell phone and yelling at the car in front of you and all those things, you know, at the grocery store, running around errands, all those things, that's not what you would necessarily say is in alignment with the highest divinity of who you are, right? That highest alignment of love and light and peace and joy and bliss. That's your stuff you got to do, you know, while you're here having a human experience. But I would say if you can balance in and get out in nature and really connect to the energetic forces of nature, the trees especially, they're showing me the trees especially have information that is really, really useful. And the indigenous know this. You know, they connect to the earth and get really grounded every day. They walk on the earth barefoot all the time for that reason, right? So it's about getting grounded. If you're looking to manifest, remember I brought in earlier, for those of you who missed it, the fulgurite, just a little piece of stone. This is where electricity, where lightning literally strikes the planet. This is from Sedona. It's a special Thunder Mountain fulgurite. When that happens, when that light hits and that strike hits the ground and creates that, it's light that's gone in, that electric of the masculine going into the earth, the feminine that's, you know, receptive. That literally is a tangible representation of the sovereign union. So here again, to the door to the infinite, all is potential, all potentiality exists. We are capable of creating all that we desire, but I do think that we really need to get grounded and connect more to our planet and honor her. And I think that's part of the reason why we've all been kind of triggered a little bit, for those of us who have been, some aren't, by this whole Paris Accord, you know, exercise. I call it an exercise, really. Because at the end of the day, I don't think in the big scheme of things it's a blip on the radar, but what I do know is it's bringing it to the attention, it's bringing it to light about how much people really do care for this planet, and that's important. It's bringing it into focus, and that's really important, because if you think of us all as lenses, you know, we have our personality, we have our own personal lens that everything flows through, like a stained glass window. Light comes through that and projects out into the world. You know, these are living projectors, really, our eyes, how we see and perceive, and how that affects the quantum universe. What we're perceiving and how we perceive it actually changes it. So how are you looking at things? So I would say if you can look at it through a lens that's much more positive, even though all this stuff seems very dramatic, I would say try to stay as neutral as you can and as positive and loving as you can, and know that at the end of the day, everything's going to work out okay. You know, the door to the infinite is open. So that's what the feminine's telling us, is that all potentiality is here. What are you choosing to create with it, and what are you choosing to bring to the table? So that's going to be the Sovereign Union message for tonight. Now I want to kind of bring us into what I call the meditation portion of the evening. But before I do that, I just want to make sure there aren't any questions, there aren't any kind of people out there needing some guidance or advice specifically. If there's anything really on your heart and mind of an urgent nature, or if there's anything going on that's bringing you down or making you feel heavy, I would say, you know, this is an opportunity for me to assist you, and I can bring that into the meditation portion as well. So just kind of maybe put a little note in, or raise your little hand. I don't know, you do like a little thumb or a little heart or something. And yeah, just so I have a kind of a gauge as to where everybody's at. And just know that you're loved, you know, and you're loved, and you're surrounded by support no matter what you're going through. You're never alone. And this I know from, you know, when I had my radio show and interviewing countless intuitives and just knowing at a deeper level myself that we are surrounded by beings of love that are our ancestors, that are our spirit guides, that are angels, and other types of light beings that are always around us and assisting us and helping us get through this thing called life, as Prince would say. And Prince, hey, we got him, you know, we got him on the other side now helping us out. So just know that there's consciousness that's always flowing to you, and you can tune into it like a radio station and just get still and quiet and ask the question, if in this moment I know nothing, what do I need to know? You know, and this was something gifted to me by another teacher of mine, friend of mine. And it's a good question to ask, you know, kind of just empty the mind, get still, and just make a blank slate and bring the light into the body and bring the light into the mind and just see what shows up. So we're going to start with that. We're going to just have everybody who's on close your eyes and just take a deep breath, okay? And I'm not going to be closing my eyes as much. I might do it a little bit, but I'm just going to be monitoring everybody a little bit. And just taking a deep breath and just taking that breath in through the lungs and just honoring your life. You know, we're just honoring life. We're honoring who we are, walking this planet, that we're here, that we showed up, that we volunteered to come in, and that we are present. And that's enough. And just the fact that you're here is enough, you know, and there's so much oftentimes that we do to try to prove our worth. And what I'm saying is the fact that you are breathing is enough. Okay, so for you busy moms out there and people who are doing all the time, just being is enough. So we're going to just get that in there first and foremost. So when we bring in the breath, we are honoring our life, and we are grateful in this moment for that, because it's really important. Gratitude is one of the highest levels of magnetics for all that you want to bring into your life, whether it be money or love or relationship or just peace and harmony. Gratitude is where we start. And so the breath is that place of gratitude. It's how we say, yes, thank you. I can breathe, right? And here another day. So then, as we're breathing, what I'd like to see is just having you kind of feel that energy of breath go through the body as light. So see it go into the body as light. And that light is going to flow into every area of your body, okay? So breathing in, now into the belly. The belly is a very big emotional center. This is why people tend to emotionally eat. You know, they eat their emotions. It's because there's a lot of energy there. And so we're going to just breathe into that space and bring light specifically into the belly. And just release the day. Release the emotion, the energy of motion that is there. And we're just going to bring light in there as we breathe in. I want you to hold the breath for a moment and hold it in that space of your belly. Expand that belly out and hold the light, and just let that light go into every single cell. And then as you exhale, just let it all out. Just let go of the day. Just imagine it all coming out through the lungs and out your mouth, out through the breath, all that energy of the day. Good. And on the next inhalation, I want you to breathe up into your mind. Okay, we're going to quiet the mind. We're going to get the mind to the stillest point that it is capable of getting to. So breathing up into the mind, breathing that light up into the mind, and again, it can be any color that intuitively comes to you, or if you don't have any particular color in mind, just white. White's a nice one. We'll just work with the white light. Call it the diamond light. It's a diamond sparkly light. So just bringing that up into the mind. As we breathe up into the mind, again, just imagine that light going into all the crevices of your mind, okay? And just every single corner. Your pituitary, your pineal gland, your hypothalamus, hippocampus, making up new words, and all those areas of the mind that are processing and really working hard, okay? We're also going to set the intention that as we breathe up into the mind, and again, you're just breathing in and out comfortably right now. As we're breathing in and out of the mind with this light, it is detoxifying the mind. So any heavy metals or any frequencies like EMFs that we get in from our phones and other channels of electric smog out there, we're just going to allow the light to go in and balance it out, clear it out, and at the photonic level, at the light level, neutralize it fully, balancing it fully. That means all static distortion is now clear. All right. So now just allowing that light to come through the mind, we're going to bring it up into the mind on a next inhalation and hold it. Okay, and just this beautiful white light. Just want you to imagine your brain's just sucking it up like a sponge. And as that white light goes in, it's just bringing peace, calm, harmony, stillness, letting go of all thought, neutralizing all distorted thoughts, any beliefs we have about self or others, just letting it all go right now in this moment. Give yourself this moment. Okay. Good, and now just on the next exhalation, just let it all go out. Allow this light to flow out of your body. And it's just being released into the field, what we call the field. And as it's released into the field, what I'm visualizing and what I'm assisting everybody here with is that it is taken into higher levels of consciousness, higher levels, what we could call source or God consciousness, universal consciousness, resourced fully back to that space, that prime creative space, and recycled and returned to sender, so to speak. So where it comes from, it's being returned now. So you are actually just giving back your experiences. So it's kind of like you're filing it away. Okay, so nothing's wasted. And I'm just going to call in all the highest levels of light to surround us in this moment, creating a sacred sanctuary of love and light around us now as a collective unified intention, so that everything that we are doing here, we are doing together, and it's amplified. If you go back to the ancient masteries and the ancient mysteries, you're going to see that many have spoken of wherever two or more are gathered, there is an amplification of prayer or intention. And I just call it intentional prayer or intention. And that just means whatever you are looking to create for this coming week, I really want you to visualize. And so closing your eyes and going into your forehead, and the inside of your forehead, I call that the mind frame. I want you to set a visual intention. So just imagine a goal, something you want to do this week. It could be something as simple as going out and hiking. It could be going to the beach. It could be just sitting in a park. Let's say if we're going to go into that space of nature, as we talked about earlier. Maybe there's a project at work or some other thing that you have to get done. Whatever it is, just I want you to see that completed. Whatever that experience is, it is completed. And visualize yourself just like relieved that it's completed and having a good time with it, whatever it is. Just take a moment to visualize that. Okay, so if you have that visualization now, I want you to take a moment and bring your attention to your heart space. And we're going to do something called diamond heart alchemy. This process is we're visualizing a diamond in the heart. I usually visualize two pyramids base to base, one inverted or upside down and one pointed upright. And it would, if it was flattened, it would look like a diamond on a playing card, okay? But in this case, it's multidimensional. It's like a sacred geometric form. It's a five-sided pyramid if you count the base. So 4 sides up, 4 sides down, base to base. And these two pyramids are extended into this diamond, and they're just in the center of your heart, okay? And this is a vehicle that we're going to use to anchor in this intention into your field. So bringing your attention to your heart, I want you just to imagine a beautiful white light, diamond light, filling your heart up. Okay, this white light just going into the center of your chest, cleansing and clearing out the heart, again, of any static or distortion or emotional feelings that no longer serve it, bringing you into the most purified, refined light that you are, your true soul connection, that aspect of you that is creative automatically. All right, so now knowing this is set. Okay, this diamond is set and it is ready and it is prepared. I want you to think of it as just like this beautiful chalice ready to receive. We want to bring our attention back up into the mind and looking at that image that you created of an intention for the week, whatever that is. I want you to really look at it and now give it a color. If you had to tune into this intention, this visual, what color would it be? What energy of color would you give it? There's a certain signature to it of light. So that light signature, bathe it over that. So almost like a filter you would use on your phone to give an image a different tinge of color, just bathe that image in that color and allow it to grow a little bit more opaque. And it washes over the screen of your mind. And now just imagine that screen in your mind like a frame, like I said, with this color in it, pixelating, like if you were watching a television with snow, okay? But now it's pixelating with this color. And every single pixel is absorbing that image. So like a hologram, like if you were to cut up a hologram, it contains the whole image in each cell of the hologram. Every single pixel contains the entire image. And there are now millions of pixels in the frame. And each one contains your image of intention. Now I want you to imagine that light, that pixelated light coming together. I want you just to imagine it flowing from your mind down the center of your spine, okay? We call this the central axis, that vertical spinal column, that tube of light. Sometimes people see it as a tube of light going down through the body, through the chakric centers. And we're just going to bring it down into our throat chakra. And the throat chakra is where we connect to what I call the living sound stream. And the sound stream is the transmissions that we speak, our word that is spoken into form, okay? So what we're going to do now, and just you can say it out loud at home, is when you get to your throat chakra, I want you to imagine this light pooling like a little puddle into a chakra ball or a sphere in your throat, just resting there for a moment as a ball of light, and just say the word yes. And as you say the word yes, you are giving it permission to come into form. You are saying yes, and you are giving an affirmation. And the affirmative is essentially saying that it is done. So now we are dropping this sphere of light, okay, down the center, again down the center, through the throat, down into the heart. And the heart, again, is this diamond, is going to receive this light, and this light is going to fill up the diamond and make it whatever color you had chosen. So now you have a beautiful gem of light within the center of your chest. This diamond light is now whatever color you gave it. So let's say, as an example, if it were green, it would be like an emerald, right? It would be that idea, but it doesn't have to be an actual gem. Just think of it as a colored diamond, if you will. And now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine this diamond expanding. Okay, it's going to expand outside of your heart space into your chest space, into the inside of your rib cage. And it's going to continue to pulse like light, just pulses. And it's going to pulse and pulse into your rib cage, into the outside of your body now, just right up the outside of your body. And it's growing larger and larger as each and every beat of your heart is pulsing it larger and larger and larger until it is about arm's length around you. And you are standing inside the diamond now. And as you're standing inside this diamond, I want you to understand that this is still your living intention. It represents your intention, your creative mechanism, okay? As it continues to expand and it gets a little bit further outside, arm's length away from you, we were going to pause it there, and we're going to just see it anchored around you in a beautiful sphere. So it's a diamond within a sphere. That sphere is your field interface. Okay, and this diamond is going to be anchored within that interface and fully absorbed now into that interface. So just allow that light to just kind of meld into that sphere as an interface between you, your personal sovereign field, and the rest of the world. Now what does this do? As this light comes into that interface, it's going to be anchored there until you manifest whatever it is that you just set the intention for. It will stay there running 24/7, 365 until it comes into your field fully as your experience. So whatever this goal was that you set, you should now experience straight away, as long as you contain the belief that that will be done to you, right? That it will be done unto you as you believe, right? That concept. Just maintain it there, let it go, release it, and it is done. That is the idea of manifestation, is visualizing it, affirming it, anchoring it into that field, and just letting it go. And you don't have to worry about it anymore. You can take action toward it. It doesn't mean you don't do anything toward it. It just means you are no longer here to worry about. Concern yourself with the how it's going to happen. What you've now done is you've placed it into the program system of your interface, right? And what will automatically happen is you will magnetically draw into you that experience, because you have set, it's like coding a computer. You've set the intention, you've coded the computer, I want to open up Word and write a document, or whatever it is you would do in a computer. It's kind of saying the same thing. You've now coded it into the computer to run this program, okay? So interestingly, when people have done this in my classes, they get really specific, and they actually have things manifest just as specifically as they visualize. It's really amazing, and I've had a few people have that happen where it like blows their mind, because they saw something like literally they're on a set shooting a commercial or a film or whatever, or something like that as an example, and the people they visualize, they totally visualized it. Like the better a visualizer you are, the better it kind of turns out in a way, more specific you are, right? And they showed up and sure enough got a job within like a couple weeks, and there was, you know, the people they visualized and the experience, and they were on the set, and it was crazy to them that it was that specific. But it really can be that specific. So I want you guys to be really aware of the power that you have to create your reality. When we know this, again, it comes down to how deep is your love, right? It's how deep is your knowing. How deeply can you truly know, right? So setting that up now, what happens is it just magnetically draws it in. Just serves as a magnetic field to draw that in. And your heart, being the diamond heart, is now anchored into your field. You've actually taken a blueprint of that into your field. That's the interface. That is, oh my gosh, I would love to have this experience. And the more you just love that experience, the more it's going to come into form, the faster it'll come into form. So you can repeat this, you know, as my friend Daniel Biskind says, you know, rinse and repeat, which I love as an expression. So you're welcome to do that, but you don't have to. As long as you know that it's going to be done, then you can move on to something else and visualize something totally different. So that is the Diamond Heart Alchemy process, and it's something that came in a couple years back, and I've been using it in my classes privately here when I've done circles and so forth, and now I'm just bringing it out online, and so that's my gift for you here tonight. And feel free to tune back into this and bookmark it, whatever you guys do, if you want to use it again. But going into that space of intention and visualization is really powerful. So now in this moment, I'd just like you, if you're still closing your eyes, to bring yourself back into the room and just wiggle your toes and your feet and your hands and just kind of stretch and just take a deep breath and bring yourself back into this space, back into this present moment with me. Just coming back here. Thank you. So Again, I'm just going to remind everybody, Sovereign Light Alchemy starts tomorrow night. It's I have a special code. If you want to use Sovereign 11, you get $11 off. And it's less than $20 a class, so it's super affordable. I highly recommend it. And it's going to be basically, you can call in your jammies, or you can listen to on demand later when you have time. It'll be recorded and sent to you. It's essentially $88 for the series of 4 for the month. And then so with the code, it's what, 77, right? Something like that. So I think I can do math. And yeah, so it's awesome. And if you want to just do one class, I think it's like 33 a class. So I really encourage people to do it as a program, because to me, you're working at multiple levels of the system. It's not just do one thing and you're good. You know, I kind of tell people, let's commit at least for a month to do something good for yourself that's going to transform your life in different levels, because you actually are putting it into practice and putting it into a commitment of some kind. And I don't think 4 weeks is a huge commitment, you know, for a couple hours a week, to spiritually feed yourself, you know, or light feed yourself, give yourself some vitamin L, as I call it, you know, because to me, when we understand that at any level of illness, let's say, you know, when we touch into health, you know, in a few weeks, I believe that pretty much any illness or disease that we create, you know, whether it be something really traumatic and incurable, as people say, has an emotional cause that is fundamentally affecting your light or your photons in your body, because everything is energy. You are 99% space. That is science, okay? And you are also however much percentage of water, I forget the percentage, but a lot of water, right? So that's also an energetic. If you remember Dr. Emoto's work, when they, you know, had water that had the words like war and hate put against it, they would measure, or not measure, they would look at the crystallized version of that under a microscope, and it would be all distorted and ugly and crazy. And then if they did love and peace and positive words, or Buddha even, they would create these beautiful images of water crystals that look like snowflakes, right, and very much in harmony. So if you understand that your body is mostly water, you know, what you are emotionally feeling is going to affect your body, right? But there's also at the photonic level, you know, photons or light is definitely part of what you are. And so that's what I'm really here to bring into the world, is to understand that we are capable of alchemizing, like the alchemy aspect of us is capable of shifting who we are when we work at the light level. When we are freeing us up to just work at the light level, and we're letting go of all the other levels to just get to the basic core of everything, which is light, then that starts to influence everything else. So that's what I'm here to teach, and that's what I'm here to know for everybody and to transmit in these moments. So I wanted to take this time to celebrate our sovereign union, you know, the union of that masculine feminine within us that is coming into the world empowered, you know, where we're equalizing so much in the world. We're equalizing by letting women rise into the truth of who they are and the power that they are, and being seen for who they are and known for the gifts that they have that are very specific, and the love that they have. And you know, it's not always an easy process. I'm not going to say it's instant pudding, right? I've said that before, but it is definitely happening. You know, I'm seeing it every day. I'm seeing a lot of really good things come into play, even though it might appear that there's a lot of really chaotic things happening too. So I just want to be here to give you guys some support and some love and some guidance, and to say, just keep shining your light, keep doing what you're doing. I know it can get exhausting sometimes, and we're in this together, and I'm always available, you know, for coaching and otherwise as well. But I've made Monday nights really my way of being accessible to anybody, you know, to come in and work with me and learn what I know. You know, I've taken quite a few years to get here. And I'd like to think that I can offer some beautiful guidance to those who are going through a lot right now, and some support, and know that it's available to you. So I want to open up these last few minutes to any questions anybody has. Is there anybody out there who might want me to pull a card for them? I have a few decks here. We can kind of pull a card if anybody has anything on their heart or mind that they have a question about. I'm happy to create some space for some guidance. I call it the Q and Angels portion. And again, for those of you who don't know how I work with angels, I really work with the idea of angels as angelic light, as frequency of consciousness, and that we have an angelic blueprint or an angelic element to us that we can activate and awaken. I'm working actually at putting together something called the Awaken Angels Summit, and I'm excited about that, and that'll be coming this year. And so that's going to be bringing in some people, some really powerful people who work at these levels as well, to awaken angels around the planet, and what else is coming in? Zen Talks. I don't know if you guys saw that coming in. Zen Talks is going to be kind of like a TED, except not limited to, TED won't touch really mindfulness and consciousness at the kind of esoteric levels at all, and it really sticks more to science, which is fine. But there's a whole area of self-help and self-development, I should say, and self-empowerment that it misses out on. But more importantly, it's panel discussions, and it's going to be bringing people together to have healthy conversations, sometimes debate, about things that we really want to take action in the world on, and motivate and educate and bring people to a place of understanding they vote with their dollar, and how they make choices in the planet, and how every single person makes a difference. And so Zen Talks is getting developed. It's going to launch at Green Festival in September, so I'm excited about that. So there's a lot going on in my world, just keeping busy like everybody else and doing what I do, but I really wanted to take this time again to bring back my Facebook Live, and I'm going to bring friends and colleagues, like peers, I guess you could say, into this space and have conversations and take your questions and things like that too. So it's been beautiful, guys. I'm glad. I know the numbers keep going in and out and up and down, and I don't know exactly who's been joining and who's been leaving and coming and going, but I just want to thank everybody who has joined me here tonight for Sovereign Union, and just to really remember who you are. That's the biggest message I have, is remember who you are, and remember that no matter what, you're sovereign, you're free. It doesn't always feel like it in this space called planet Earth and what we're doing at this experiential level, but at the level of light, at the truth of who you are, at the soul that animates your body, this vehicle that's moving around, you are absolutely free. And that's really all I want to say. So I really love you guys. Thank you so much for coming by and joining me and being here, and be blessed. Peace in your heart, and until I see you again, have a beautiful, beautiful night, okay? And day, if you're somewhere else, if you're in Australia. Saying hi to my Aussie friends. But yeah, wherever you are in the world, may you be blessed.